Welcome to History with Herodotus, where we delve into the depths of human experience and unravel the intricate tapestry of our collective past. Today, we embark on a somber journey, one that will transport us to the dawn of the atomic age and the devastating events that shook the world in 1945. The atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, a pivotal moment in human history, will be our focus as we explore the complex web of events, decisions, and circumstances that led to this fateful turning point. In the summer of 1945, the world was ablaze with the Second World War raging across multiple continents. The Allies, comprising the United States, Great Britain, and the Soviet Union, had been making steady gains against the Axis powers, but the war in the Pacific remained a formidable challenge. Japan, under the leadership of Emperor Hirohito, continued to resist fiercely despite the overwhelming odds against them. It was amidst this backdrop of unrelenting conflict that the United States began to develop a secret weapon, one that would change the course of history forever. The story begins in 1939 when physicist Albert Einstein, a German-born émigré, wrote a letter to President Franklin D. Roosevelt warning him of the possibility of creating an extremely powerful bomb using nuclear reactions. This letter, penned by a man who would become synonymous with genius, set in motion a chain of events that would ultimately lead to the development of the atomic bomb. The United States government, recognizing the potential implications of such a weapon, launched the Manhattan Project, a clandestine research and development initiative tasked with creating an atomic bomb before the Nazis could. As the war raged on, a team of brilliant scientists, including J. Robert Oppenheimer, Enrico Fermi, and Ernest Lawrence, worked tirelessly to overcome the technical challenges involved in harnessing nuclear energy for military purposes. Their efforts were fueled by a sense of urgency, as the Allies faced stiff resistance from Japanese forces, who seemed determined to fight to the last man. The idea of invading Japan, with its potential for catastrophic losses on both sides, became increasingly unpalatable, and the search for an alternative solution gained momentum. In the spring of 1945, the United States began to consider the possibility of using the atomic bomb against Japanese cities. The Target Committee, a group of military and scientific experts, was established to identify potential targets with the aim of maximizing the bomb's psychological impact on the Japanese population. Cities like Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and Kokura were selected based on their strategic importance, population density, and proximity to major military installations. As the summer solstice approached, the world held its breath, unaware of the devastating events that were about to unfold. The United States had just concluded a series of firebombing raids against Japanese cities, including Tokyo, which had left hundreds of thousands dead or injured. And yet, amidst this backdrop of chaos and uncertainty, there existed a sense of hope, a glimmer of possibility that the war might soon come to an end. As the summer solstice approached, the world held its breath, unaware of the devastating events that were about to unfold. On July 16, 1945, the United States conducted a successful nuclear test, codenamed Trinity, in the desert of New Mexico. This experiment, led by J. Robert Oppenheimer, marked the first detonation of an atomic bomb, releasing an unprecedented amount of energy into the atmosphere. The test's success sent shockwaves through the scientific community and reinforced the conviction that the bomb could be a game-changer in the war against Japan. In the days that followed, the United States finalized its plans to drop the atomic bomb on a Japanese city. On July 25, 1945, General Leslie Groves, the director of the Manhattan Project, received a memo from Secretary of War Henry Stimson confirming the decision to use the bomb against Japan. The memo specified that the target should be a large urban area with a high population density, and that the bombing should aim to inflict maximum damage on the Japanese war effort. On August 6, 1945, at 8:15 am local time, the first atomic bomb, known as Little Boy, was dropped on the city of Hiroshima. The bomb, which contained about 64 kilograms of uranium-235, exploded with a force equivalent to 15 kilotons of TNT, unleashing a blinding flash of light and a wave of intense heat that destroyed nearly everything within a radius of 2 kilometers. The initial blast killed an estimated 70,000 people instantly, while many more died in the following weeks and months from injuries and radiation sickness. The bombing of Hiroshima sent shockwaves around the world, with news of the devastating attack spreading like wildfire through radio broadcasts and newspapers. In Japan, the government struggled to comprehend the scale of the disaster, with initial reports suggesting that a massive firebombing raid had occurred rather than a single atomic bomb. As the full extent of the disruption became clear, however, the Japanese leadership began to realize that the war was all but lost. 3 days later, on August 9, 1945, the United States dropped a second atomic bomb, known as Fat Man, on the city of Nagasaki. The bomb, which contained about 6 kilograms of plutonium-239, exploded with a force equivalent to 21 kilotons of TNT, killing an estimated 39,000 people instantly and injuring many more. The bombing of Nagasaki marked the second time in history that an atomic bomb had been used in warfare, and it would prove to be a decisive blow against Japan. As the news of the second bombing reached Tokyo, the Japanese government was thrown into chaos. Emperor Hirohito, who had long been opposed to surrender, finally began to consider the possibility of ending the war. On August 10, 1945, the Japanese government sent a message to the Allies, expressing its willingness to surrender, but only on the condition that the emperor's position be preserved. The Allies, however, insisted on unconditional surrender, and the negotiations continued for several more days. In the meantime, the people of Hiroshima and Nagasaki struggled to come to terms with the devastating attacks they had suffered. Survivors of the bombings, known as hibakusha, faced unimaginable horrors in the aftermath, including severe injuries, radiation sickness, and the loss of loved ones. Many were forced to flee their homes and seek shelter in other parts of Japan, where they often faced discrimination and stigma due to their exposure to radiation. As the negotiations between Japan and the Allies continued, the Soviet Union declared war on Japan on August 8, 1945, and began its invasion of Manchuria, a region of northeastern China. This development further weakened Japan's position, and on August 15, 1945, Emperor Hirohito announced Japan's unconditional surrender in a radio broadcast, bringing an end to World War II. The formal surrender ceremony took place on September 2, 1945, aboard the USS Missouri in Tokyo Bay, where Japanese officials signed the instrument of surrender. In the aftermath of the bombings, the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki faced significant challenges in rebuilding and recovering from the devastating effects of the atomic bombs. The survivors, hibakusha, continued to suffer from the physical and emotional trauma caused by the bombings, and many struggled to find adequate medical care and social support. The Japanese government established the Atomic Bomb Survivors Relief Law in 1957, which provided financial assistance and medical benefits to hibakusha, but it was not until 1968 that the law was amended to include provisions for compensation and pensions. The atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki had a profound impact on the world, leading to a new era of nuclear diplomacy and arms control. The bombings served as a catalyst for the Cold War, as the United States and the Soviet Union engaged in a decades-long struggle for nuclear supremacy. The threat of nuclear war hung over the world like a specter, with the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962 bringing humanity to the brink of disaster. As Robert Oppenheimer, the director of the Manhattan Project, later reflected, the atomic bomb made the prospect of future war unendurable. It has led us up those last few steps to the mountain pass, and beyond there is a different country. Today, the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki are remembered as pivotal events in modern history, serving as a reminder of the devastating consequences of nuclear war. The bombings are commemorated annually on August 6 and 9, with ceremonies and memorials held in Hiroshima and Nagasaki to honor the victims and survivors. The Hiroshima Peace Memorial Park, established in 1950, has become a symbol of peace and nuclear disarmament, attracting millions of visitors each year. The park's museum and memorial hall contain artifacts and personal testimonies from the bombings, serving as a powerful reminder of the human cost of war. The legacy of the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki continues to shape international relations and global security policies. The bombings led to the establishment of the United Nations and the development of international law, including the Geneva Conventions and the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. The bombings also spurred a global movement for nuclear disarmament, with organizations such as the International Campaign to Abolish Nuclear Weapons advocating for the elimination of nuclear weapons. That's all for today's History with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, remember that, to understand the present, we must first understand the past.